Chicken Parmigiana, one of the most popular pub meals in Australia, if not the most popular pub meal. I'm going to make my own. I'll show you how it's done. Pretty easy. The most important part of the Parmigiana is to make a nice tomato sauce. A bit time consuming, needs to be cooked down, but the flavour's so much nicer. So it's pretty simple. Not many ingredients. I'm just using a little bit of roughly chopped onion, a tin of tomato with basil and garlic already in it, so I don't have to bother chopping garlic or buying herbs I'm not going to use at all. A bit of Campbell's stock, that's probably one of the better brands available. Always gets salt reduced. Really there shouldn't be any salt in it at all. Salt doesn't go in at the stock stage. And I'm going to put in a little bit of cheap red wine just to give it a little bit of extra oomph. And of course just a little bit of olive oil to fry it in. So not many ingredients, not very expensive. I'll get on with cooking it. So grab a pot that's a suitable size, a little bit of oil in it, olive oil. Wait for the oil to heat. Okay. As the oil heat gives off a nice aroma from the olive oil, chuck in your onion. You don't want it too hot because you don't want the onion to burn too quickly. You don't want it to burn at all. So you just want to lightly fry them for just a couple of minutes, just to soften them a little bit and convert the acid into sugars, just to sweeten it up a bit. So just a couple of minutes and stick in your tin of tomato. Now we're going to be chucking some wine into it. So use that. Just to rinse out the can, make sure you got all the bits in there. And in the way of the late great Keith Floyd, one for the pot equals one for the cook. Now, you could wait until this is boiled just to boil some of the alcohol out of the wine. Really could have put the wine in before the tomato, quite honestly, but it's going to cook for quite a while, just simmer down, so not really important. I'm going to stick in my stock. And it goes, we're going to use a lot, just to intensify the flavour. And now we'll bring it to the boil. Once it's boiled, we'll turn it down and let it simmer. Important thing to remember, good seasoning, small bit of salt, see if I can find some pepper here, That'll do. Just a little bit of that, because I've also got some ground white pepper, which I prefer to use for cooking rather than cracked pepper. Cracked pepper's nice on the table as a condiment. Ground white pepper, better seasoning. And because we're cooking with tomato, that means we're cooking with sugar. I'm just using one sugar stick, about 1 teaspoon's worth, just to break up the acidity of the tomato. And it goes. Give it a stir up and wait for it to boil. Of course, sticking a lid on it helps to bring it to the boil quicker. Okay, we're boiling now, so we can take the lid off, give it a stir around, turn the temperature down so it comes down to a simmer. Don't leave your spoon in the pot. You don't want the taste of the spoon in your sauce. So just rest it up there like that. And while that's simmering down, going to take a while, we may as well start on the chicken schnitzel. So I've bought one breast. It's pretty thick and chunky. And you're probably wondering, how the hell do they get that into a thin schnitzel? Well, first up, on the bottom, you've got the fillet. Just take that off for a start. Put it aside, get another meal out of that. Still pretty thick and chunky. Some places slice off that thick bit there, add that to the fillet, it becomes another meal. Just trim off the daggy bits a bit. Might as well keep them, seeing how you're going to do a stir fry. Don't want to waste flavour. Still pretty thick. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to slice it down the middle. Try to get 2 serves out of it. So, there we go. So we got 2 bits of chicken. Now at this stage, you need a mallet, a meat mallet, to thinner it, bash it out, make it a bit thinner, tenderise it a bit more. I don't have one, so I'm going to improvise. Bottle of wine, full bottle, give it a wash off with the label upside up so you're not bashing it with the label. Just tap it out, tap out the breast. Just expands it a bit, makes it a bit bigger. If you hit it too hard, it's just going to break up. So stick a bit of flour on the plate, season it a little bit of salt and pepper, mix the seasoning through. You don't need a great deal of flour because we're only using 2 bits of chicken. Then you need an egg. Break it into a bowl. Just whip it up a bit. If you're crumbing a lot of things, you'd probably want to add some milk to it just to thin it down, make it go further. pretty much 2 parts milk to 1 part egg, but only got the 2 bits. I'm not going to use all that egg for that, so not much point. Then you need the breadcrumbs. Spread them out a bit on the plate. So get a spare plate, a little bit of breadcrumb on it. Have that ready to put your finished schnitzel on. So first up, dredge the chicken in flour. Into the egg. Let it run off a bit. And onto the breadcrumbs. Give it a good coating. Bit of a pat, make sure the breadcrumbs are coating to it properly, sticking nicely. Then onto your side plate. It doesn't need to be double crumbed, but just sprinkle a bit more crumbs on top so the next one doesn't stick to it. Once again, dredge with the flour. Into the egg. Give it a good coating. Onto the breadcrumbs once again. Make sure it's all nicely done. Stick it on top of the other one. The layer of breadcrumbs in between the two means they don't stick together. Just another little bit just to absorb any moisture. That then goes into the fridge. The sauce simmering down nicely. As I said, it's going to take a long time, but it'll get there. Maybe a tad more heat. And that's about all we can do for the time being until the sauce is ready. Apart from clean up what we got so far. Well, the sauce has been reducing for about an hour and a half, 2 hours now. Pretty nice consistency. Could maybe do a bit more, but that'll be pretty close to it. So I'm just going to turn it off. We'll let it sit there for a little bit, just cool off a little bit. Sauce is ready, the chicken schnitzel's ready, the ham I bought already sliced. All we have to do now is cook it and slice a little bit of cheese. Anyway, when it's dinner time, we'll go through it all. Right, oil's in the pan. Wrong burner, turn the right burner on. I've got a history of that. And wait for the oil to heat up. So, if we can fit 2 schnitzels in, great, but I think we'll only fit 1 at a time. Just have a plate with a bit of paper towel ready. So when the first one's ready, just sit it on the paper towel and it absorbs all the excess oil. Now, I'll get in trouble if I don't eat my veggies. So I got some beans and asparagus and mushrooms there. I'll quickly fry them off. Over here I got some butter and oil. The oil will stop the butter from burning. So I can fry my veggies in butter and oil. And a little bit of salt, pepper and very little salt, because I got some soy sauce in there as well. And the soy sauce is quite salty enough, especially this brand is not particularly good. And it is quite salty, but it will give us the flavour that we want. Okay, the oil's pretty hot. We'll turn the fan on. So you got a bit of noise there. One schnitzel, and it goes. Pardon me. And I think we can fit the second one in there somehow. Yep. Now remember, they're pretty thin, so they don't take a lot of cooking. For that, we'll do is we'll turn the heat off and take them off. That pan down the sink now. Right. So can you see that? What happens next? Let's turn this thing on. Over here. Power's on. Temperature we'll put to 200 at the time. Turn it on. That'll heat up a bit. Really doesn't take long. So you've got to have a good bit of ham. Now this is the most expensive ham, but it almost looked like real ham. So I got that. One slice, more than enough for what we got here in chicken. Beautiful. Just the right size. So now, tomato sauce. Remember that one? Took ages to make it. Bit of tomato sauce on top of the ham. Try to keep it on top of the ham. You don't want too much sauce onto the schnitzel because you don't want the schnitzel to get soggy. That's the whole idea of the ham. So, I don't have a cheese grater, so how the hell do I grate cheese? I'm not going to bother. I'm going to use sliced cheese. Just break it up so it fits on nicely. And that's that. This is hot. Take the lid off. Bring over the schnitzels or the really are Parmigianas by this stage. One there. One there. Plate into the sink. We put the lid back on. Turn it on again. But while it's happening, move over the pan with the butter and the oil. Turn the heat back on. We're going to cook the veggies. Got to have veggies, otherwise you get in trouble for not eating veggies. So there's beans, asparagus and mushrooms in there. Just wait for the oil and butter to heat up a bit. Stick them in and cook them. I can see the buttermilk bubbling away in there. That means it's hot enough. So in go the veggies. It's pretty much stir frying. Probably be easier for you because you've probably got handles on the saucepan. A little bit awkward without them. Won't take long. How's the Simpsons going? Looking pretty good in there. Stir around the veggies a bit, put in the seasoning, as I said, tiny little bit of salt and soy sauce, even though it's cheap stuff, and cracked black pepper. Here it goes. Stir it around, get it off the heat. It's now ready to go as soon as the stencils are ready. And they're not going to take long. The cheese is completely melted, so that'll do me. That's all you need. So there it is, our chicken parmigiana. Looking gorgeous. Just put on a bit of veggies. And it's time to eat. So you've got the chicken schnitzel, the ham, the tomato sauce, the cheese. It's good. So all up, you got 2 chicken parmigianas, veggies for 2 people. Approximately $6. pubs want to charge up to 35 for them. Anyway, I hope you like the Parma. It's one of my favourites. I'll see you later. I'm going to enjoy eating this.